Hello again. Today we're looking at the idea of closing pages. We've looked at title pages or section opener pages, divider pages, whatever you want to call them. It's the idea of a page that kind of breaks the pace and gives you a little bit of a different feel when you move from one part of the story to another. In a travel album, that might be one location to another or one day to another in many different types of albums. In this case, I don't have a lot of section dividers. This album, I'm working in the Olympic album, and it is very much chronological. But I want to create a closing page, even though I haven't finished the album yet, and I just want to focus my thoughts on it. Now, it's going to go in one of two places depending on how the rest of the album comes to be. It may be the absolute closing page, in which case it'll be that very last page in the album. Or it may just be an end of a section, even though the sections aren't really obvious. And that is because I did everything in chronological order. In that particular album, it means that different things tend to fall within sections on their own just because of when they fell on the calendar. At the beginning, it's not so obvious because all the preparation got mixed up. So I was doing training for the tour guide bit at the same time that I was doing rehearsals for the ceremony. But when the games actually arrived, those things happened at two different times. I did a week of being an ambassador tour guide, and then I did the ceremony at the end of the Olympics. So when all those photos end up in the album, there's a very distinct section that ends up with just a bunch of photos of the closing ceremony. So I think it can go in either of those two places and make sense, but I would approach it in the same sort of way. The only thing I would do a little bit differently is that if I were going to be 100% sure that it's the last page in the album, then I might work in a way to mix the photos so that they weren't just of one event, and then make sure that the journaling and everything feels like it's everything put together and a whole overview of the event or the theme of that album. But today I'm going to work with these, and since I know that I'm okay for it to go in either place, when I get to the journaling, I'm just going to let it guide me and see how it feels. And if it feels more like it's a letter to the ceremony, then I'll put it at the end of the ceremony photos. And if it feels like it's more a letter to the Olympics, then I'll put it at the end of the album. I'm still working from my album kit, but remember the other day I did add a bunch of different turquoise bits because I'd run out. So I have some turquoise, and I'm going to mix in the pink. Now this is my background. One thing I really like about closing pages and album kits is that you end up using lots of little pieces from pages that you've used elsewhere in the same album. And I like how that kind of gives you this feeling that the last page, whether it be the album or any given section of the album, is made up of little bits of all the thoughts that have come earlier in the book. I think it's a nice little bit of visual symbolism. Plus, it's nice that it saves the supplies. It gives us a way to not be wasteful. It works all around. So I was just looking at how I'm going to put this together and whether that triangle should go maybe on the side, I think. That way I still have the gradient effect here. And I have a long column here for journaling. So do I want to put that here as well, or do I want to have it on the other side? I think it needs to go somewhere slightly different. So I'll go ahead and put this horizontal box on now. And I did something silly with this. I'd planned to have this long box with both photos on this pink mat. And then when I started to cut the mat, I forgot that I had the second photo and I cut it. But it's okay. I'm just going to put it back together as if it were one big box and then put the other photo over that line so you can't see it. Both of these are actually the same picture. It's just one that's zoomed in, which I thought was quite funny. My friend took this picture from the audience because she happened to have tickets and ended up on the right side to see us, and she took this picture and then zoomed in. Look, there you are! And I always thought it was kind of funny. Okay, so I think this journaling box, but I'm going to take off this frame around the edge so it just looks more like it wasn't at the edge of a bigger paper, like this was just how it was meant to be. And maybe the journaling box can come over to this side. Maybe I do like it over here. I think I do. And add some other little paper elements. So I just have all these little leftover bits that are in the kit, and it makes it really easy to just have all different pieces come together because the kit is down to all those little scraps. But because they were all in that album kit, then I know they all coordinate and go together nicely, so that's cool. Happy little ways to keep using the supplies. And I thought I would use this as a little different way to have my London 2012. I need to wait to stick it. And so on every page in this album it has somewhere LDN 2012, but normally really small and little number and letter stickers somewhere. But I thought with this one as a closing page that I could make it a little bigger and continue it with this phrase so that it ends on London 2012, love you. I thought that would be kind of, I don't know, appropriate in a cheesy, cute kind of way. So I have some thickers in black and turquoise, and I have white cardstock to do some brush letters. Why don't I go ahead and do that at this point so that I can get the London 2012 bit here and figure out how that's all going to go together. I think I'll do the LDN in the brush letters, and then if I have the right numbers in my thickers, I'll do numbers for the thickers and make it all run together. Can go there and this tuck underneath. And numbers across the middle. And I'm going to add the journaling here before I do any more embellishment. From here, a little bit more embellishment, but the story is in place and I don't really need to add huge amounts, but a little bit. I have stickers, I have those little arrow paper clips. I think this might be one of the only places in the album where the pink hearts might feel like they actually belong, so I might go ahead and use that. A little bit. I wanted to bring in a little bit more black so that these didn't feel so stark. So actually this polka dot seems quite apt. So do that. Put the pink heart up here. Maybe bring the other pink heart down to this corner. Maybe just leave one arrow. I pulled out 3 paper clips just in case, but I think just one is probably fine. Maybe a little touch of gold with some gold stars across this diagonal. Just trying to see where this one might go. I think maybe I bring it over to the journaling and have just a little bit there. Could bring another little sticker down here, or I could, yeah, I think I like it up here a little bit better. Okay, so I'll have this little grouping of hearts and everything there. I do want to put something else. Maybe the trick here is that I need something here. I could have a pink star on that side, and that will balance that bit of gold rather than trying to pile on more embellishment there. Yeah. And some enamel dots. That is better there. Maybe this one up here? No. I think it's better to keep them around the shapes, actually. Just have them in that smaller triangle there. And then 3 up here at the top. That will work. And I have some sequins. I've got just 3 little sequins, maybe 1 for each spot. So the way I designed the page is not hugely different than any other layout I would do. But I like that making a closing page with lots of scraps can help everything feel quite cohesive. And I like just the fact that when I'm putting that layout together, I'm thinking about it being a closing page rather than it's just another layout. Oh, and then when I place it in the album, it happens to be a closing page. Because if I had worked with these photos and not thought about it as a closing page, this is not the journaling I would write. I would write something else, and that story will probably end up somewhere else in the book, and that's fine too. And it would have been fine either way. There is no right or wrong, but I like the fact that then it will have a closing page that makes it feel like the whole book is done, and now you've read a story from start to finish. If you were to sit down and actually read through every page, including the journaling, that is something that really does give meaning to albums for me when I go through and I think, oh yeah, there's like an actual closing statement. So I hope that that might be useful to you as well. If you do have closing pages already that you love, please share them with us on the forum. Or if you work on something having seen this, we'd love to see that too. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you again one more time tomorrow. Bye-bye.